or responsibility cannot stop at borders. Remember that. If AI knows no borders, then our responsibility cannot stop at borders. My friends, this is not simply a policy debate. This is merely a technical conversation for experts, regulators, or engineers. This is a test of political courage and moral imagination. It is a test of whether we, in this generation, can govern what we have created before it governs us. Because artificial intelligence has already crossed every line that nations once believed they could defend alone. It is built in one country, trained on data from many others, powered by infrastructure spread across continents and deployed across the world in seconds. It does not stop at customs. It does not pause at frontiers. It does not ask permission. From geography, AI is global by nature. But our laws remain national. Our institutions remain fragmented. And our response remains too slow, too narrow, too divided. And that's not simply a gap in policy. That is a failure of vision. That is a failure of courage. And if we do not close the gap, it will become a failure history will remember. Because when harm happens, and it will happen, who answers? When data is taken in one place, models are built in another, and damage is done in many more, who stands before the mother whose child has been humiliated by a deepfake? Who answers to the worker denied opportunity by a biased system? Who answers to the citizen whose democracy is shaken by industrialized? Too often, the answer is no one. Responsibility disappears across supply chains, and accountability dissolves across jurisdictions, and human beings are left alone to carry the costs. That is why national regulation, while necessary, is no longer enough. Not because nations do not matter, they do. Not because sovereignty does not matter, it does. But because no nation, no matter how strong, can by itself govern the force that moves faster than law, faster than diplomacy, faster even than public understanding. And so again, let us say it clearly, if AI knows no borders, then our responsibility cannot stop at borders. Now consider the harms we already see around us. False images, synthetic voices, fabricated videos, automated frauds, manipulation at scale, disinformation designed not merely to deceive, but to divide. And these harms not remain neatly contained in one country. They spread, they multiply, they travel, they cross languages, elections, markets and societies. And in their wake, they leave something even more dangerous than conclusion. They leave mistrusts. Mistrust in institutions, mistrust in journalism, mistrust in public life, and mistrust between neighbors, even mistrust within families. And a society can survive many things, but it can't survive forever without trust. There is another danger too. The danger of uneven rules in interconnected worlds. When one country acts responsibility and another does not, the most dangerous actors will always look for the weakest door. The lowest standard becomes the hidden magnet. The reckless are rewarded. The responsibles are burdened, and the world moves not toward safety, but toward vulnerability by design. That is the governance gap before us. And the tragedy is that we see it clearly, yet we still hesitate. But History does not reward hesitation when the stakes are this high, because this technology is accelerating. The systems are becoming more powerful, the agents are becoming more autonomous, and the tools are moving from screens into our physical worlds. They will decide, they recommend, they predict, they persuade, and they imitate, and they act with greater force than ever, than anything that we have known before us. And if governance continues to arrive only after damage, then we are not governing at all. We are merely cleaning up after an avoidable future. That is why this moment matters. Not next year, not someday, not after the next scandal, the next election crisis, the next collapse of trusts. Now will there still be the time to shape what comes next. So let us be clear about what global AI governance means. It does not mean one distant authority ruling over every nation. It does not mean erasing cultures, governments, or democratic differences. It means something more simple and more necessary. Shared standards, coordinated safeguards, and common rules for transparency and accountability. A framework through which nations act, not in isolation, but in concert together. Because when a challenge is global, indifference becomes complicity. And because when power is global, responsibility must become global too. For such a governance to succeed, it must stand on three foundations. It must have legitimacy. Not the legitimacy of the powerful speaking to one another, but the legitimacy of the world speaking together. North and south, large states and small states, advanced economies and developing nations, technological powers and those who risk being left behind. If people are expected to live under these rules, they must have the voice in shaping them. It must have enforceability, because noble declarations do not protect children and citizens. They do not stop abuse. They do not prevent fraud. They do not restrain systems designed without care for human consequences. We need this reporting. We need this auditing, this monitoring. These consequences are real enough to matter for us all. And it must have equity. Because if AI safety belongs only to the rich countries, if AI opportunity belongs only to the powerful corporations, if AI dignity belongs only to those already protected, then global prosperity is not prosperity at all. It is a privilege, wearing the mask of progress, and we must reject that, because the true measure of progress is not what the strong can build for themselves. The true measure of progress is what humanity can secure for us all. That is why we need this layered governance, strong national and regional laws, coalitions of countries to act faster, global mechanisms for coordinations, and the deep involvement of academia, industry, and civil society. Not one level against each other, but each level reinforcing the next. Practical where we must be, inclusive where we should be, and ambitious where we dare to be. But let us also ask the deepest question of all: what exactly are we trying to protect? We are trying to protect truth in an age when falsehood can be manufactured at an industrial scale. We are trying to protect human dignity in a time when a face, a voice, a body, a reputation can be stolen, altered, weaponized, and spread around the world before the victim can even speak. We are trying to protect the vulnerable from systems that do not merely mirror injustice, but automate it, amplify it, and hide it behind the language of efficiency. That is what's at stake. Not just competition, not just markets, but the condition of a decent human future. And And that is why the phrase human co-prosperity matters, because it asks more of us than growth, it asks more of us than speed, and it asks more of us than technical brilliance. It asks whether progress can still be human, whether efficiency can still be just, and whether intelligence can still serve wisdom. It asks whether the benefits of this age will be shared or hoarded, whether safety will be universal or selective, and whether dignity will remain a principle or become a luxury. And our answer must be unmistakable. We do not accept a future where truth is optional. We do not accept a future where dignity is negotiable. And we do not accept a future where the vulnerable are left to pay the price of innovation. We do not accept it. We do not accept it. We do not accept it. And so, let this forum, not in polite applause and forgotten declaration, let it produce something worthy of the age that we are entering. A joint declaration that is clear and courageous. A governance roadmap that is practical and serious, and a durable framework for international cooperation that continues after this forum is over. Because the world will not pause while we deliberate. Technology will move, markets will move, and risks will move. The only question is whether governance. Will governance move with enough wisdom? Will governance move with enough speed? And will governance move with enough courage to meet this moment? So let history say of us that when this test came, we did not look away. We did not retreat into narrow interests. We did not comfort ourselves with half measures. We rose. We chose cooperation over fragmentation. We chose responsibility over delay. And we chose dignity over indifference. We chose truth over manipulation. And we chose humanity over fear. And we understood this timeless truth. If AI knows no borders, then our responsibility cannot stop at borders. Let that be the principle. Let that be the warning. And let that be the promise. And if we act on it, not tomorrow but now, then trust will no longer be a fragile hope. It will become the foundation on which humanity enters the age of artificial intelligence. We all together with you. Thank you everyone for your kind attention.